Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. Today I'm going to be going over the House Taken Over graphic organizer that y'all did and then hopefully redid. And then there's a lot to do today. So we're going to start with this. We are then going to cover the vocabulary on the back side here. Then I want to go over a new worksheet which will be posted later today, so please look for that. Technology issues aside, it should be posted this morning around, I would say, between 8:50 and 9:35 this morning. So please look for that. I know there's been issues with Google and issues with the textbook, but we're just doing the best that we can. I'm going to kind of talk at you for a little bit about key aspects of House Taken Over that I really want y'all to understand. And then I will give you today's assignment. So there's just a lot of front-loading information. And then your end of things would be a character analysis that we will get to today. So just to start out, we're doing the House Taken Over graphic organizer. So you've read the story. You should know by now that it is about a brother and a sister who live in a mansion in Argentina in 1946. And there is something in the house that kind of just takes over gradually. Do we know what that something is? Well, some of us think we know, but do they ever confirm it? No. So what we were supposed to do was under this first column right here was label elements of the unusual. I gave y'all one answer, doing the most difficult one, paragraph 21. So we wrote that down. And then we went over to the character's reaction or non-reaction to this weird thing, in which it was paragraph 20, where our main character, who is unnamed, says he insists that we are fine. So now I'd like to just go over the other two paragraphs that really highlight that there's unusual elements, that magical realism in the story. So I'm going to start with paragraph 6. And that is where he says, and I don't want to do the full quote, so I'm just going to start here, where it says, a chair being knocked over and a muffled buzzing of a conversation. So if you'll remember, in the context of the story, he's trying to go get dinner and he hears something in the deeper part of the mansion. Now there's a door that separates his apartment from the rest, and usually that door is closed. But was it closed in this moment? No, it was cracked, and he could hear talking and a chair being knocked over. So we've got this unusual element. How does he react? Well, immediately he hurls himself, so he throws himself against the door, slams it shut, locks it, and that is the immediate reaction. But would you say that's an unusual reaction? I mean, maybe he could have done it quieter, yes, but to separate yourself from what you perceive as danger isn't really an unusual reaction. What we want to emphasize and highlight is the fact that after he did this dramatic thing, he went and made tea and brought dinner to his sister. So that is what I wanted to emphasize. So I'm just going to open quotations. I'm not going to put the full thing. I'm just going to highlight the most important to me was I went to the kitchen. And then again with the ellipses, because I'm not doing the full quote, and I'm letting you know that there's still more there to be said. And this was, and I'll just go to the front, paragraph 7. Now, the last instance of note would be paragraph 23, where he says, we stood listening to the noises, growing more and more sure, and I don't really need all of that that's in between there, so again with the ellipses, that the noise basically is coming from our side of the door. So at this point, we know that, let me fix that. We know that they've taken over the back part of the house. Well, now he's saying at this point in the story, oh no, they're now in our side of the mansion. They're now coming into our little apartment area. So, what again was his reaction? Well, his reaction immediately was to take Irene's arm and force her to run. And I would use that this time. You can also use the quote where he locks the door and drops the key into the sewage. That is also a really good reaction quote. But I would go, for me, I would just put, I took Irene's arm and forced her to run with me. And this was paragraph 24. So that's all that you had to do there. You are now done with this section. We are going to go look now at the unknown words. So there should have been a few words that you've just never encountered before, like one or two at the least. I just want to go over some of them now, just kind of cover the basics in case you just need that assistance. For example, vestibule. It's not a word that we use very often typically, and that is more like an entrance/entry way. You've got skine. We don't use it often, so it's difficult to pronounce. It is a very niche word because it means quality thread or yarn wound in a coil. So it's very, very specific. You have ajar, which is a cracked or slightly opened door most often. Replete, which is to be filled with something. In this case, in the context of the story, it was mothballs. A drawer was full of mothballs. Now you've got motes, which is not what is around a castle. In this case, it is specks of dust or other particles. Moats that are around castles full of water is spelled like that. So it's just phonetic, so there is a difference. Recessed means it's set back into a wall. Corridor is a hallway. Commune, synonym would be community. And shawls is what women wear around their shoulders, like scarves. It's like a woman's shoulder scarf, for lack of a better term. Seldom would be rare or not often. And brusquely means, let me just make sure I spelled that right. I kind of typed it quickly. Okay. Brusquely is quick and impatient with your speech. So the way in which you talk. Those were kind of the high vocabulary words of this short story. So if you do not know them, please write them down. Please add them to your vernacular. Start using them. These are good words to know. And that is it for this one. I am going to next do a use of language thing, which will be a new worksheet for y'all. And we will do that together. I'll do it through a video like this one. And then again, discuss the story. Make sure you just really understand the key aspects I want you to understand. And then you are going to have a character analysis worksheet. So that will be it for this one, and I will talk to you again very soon.